Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Joey Galvez, one half of your host of Explain Yourself, and I want to let you guys know about a really cool book from our friend of the show, Eli Shockey. This one is called The Greylock, and it's a story where magic is a commodity. Potions are sold at corner stores. Orcs and dwarves earn a living in cubicles, not on the battlefields. But there are those who resist the house's magic's laws. Branded a criminal and forced to live as a want for hire, there is a spell slinger they call the Greylock. Check this one out. You guys can pre-order issue 3 right now with code JAN241939, and make sure you guys are heading over to your favorite LCS and letting them know that you want Greylock number 3, and maybe pick up the first 2 issues. You could do that at the Scout web store. So make sure you guys are grabbing the Greylock number 3, JAN241939 at previewsworld.com.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me, as always, is...
Sesame, Bison, and Carta.
That's awesome, man.
Thanks.
That's a very great name. So,
SBE, yep.
Yep. This is going to be the first episode in a new series that I've named the Arcade Movie Reviews. So, where we take a look at movies based on video games. Yeah. Based on video games.
A movie video game, or rather a video game movie.
You know, because there's been so many great ones.
Oh, like Mortal Kombat Annihilation. So, I mean, totally.
Yeah.
Or Double Dragon.
There's been so many bad ones. There's very few good ones.
There's some. There's a few good ones, but it's
very few.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes. Today we are covering Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li.
Oh.
Yes.
Yep.
A movie that came out in the year 2009 of our Lord. And
of our Lord Bison.
Yes. It was a PG-13 film. It was an hour and 36 minutes, but it felt like about 5 days long. Yeah.
I literally had to watch it in 3 sessions.
I don't blame you.
Because it was so boring.
Yeah, it was directed by Andrzej Andrzej Bartkowiak, Bartkowiak. He's a Polish man with a very Polish name. So,
yeah,
just that I, unfortunately, as an American, cannot pronounce. So,
right, boy.
Yeah,
no.
I'm a white boy.
No, Polish is like notoriously like hard, like
to pronounce.
Like all the European languages, it's like seen as like one of the most difficult because like none of the words or none of the letters like are pronounced how they actually read. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
So this guy the director started out as a cinematographer, and he was like the director of photography for movies such as Trespass, 13 Days, Lethal Weapon 4, U.S. Marshals, The Devil's Advocate, Dante's
Ooh.
Peak, Jade, Species.
Damn.
Some decent movies that
Yeah.
Speed,
Okay.
Falling Down,
God.
Twins,
Yeah.
Prince's Honor, The Verdict. A lot of really good movies. He was the
Yeah, that's like a pretty decent resume right there.
yeah.
Like,
He was around. These were him as the cinematographer, not the director.
yeah. Right. Yeah.
So, but you think being on those films, he may have learned something.
Yeah.
Nothing against him. As far as his directing output goes, Romeo Must Die is one of his movies, which is a decent movie.
Yeah.
Exit Wounds with Steven Seagal. Cradle to the Grave. Doom, another video game movie.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
With The Rock.
Yeah. And then, like, more recently, he's done some movies called Maximum Impact and Dead Reckoning that I'm not familiar with. So,
Yeah, either my.
yeah. Anyways, and it was written by Justin Marks, Takashi Nishoyama, and Hiroshi Mastomoro. But mainly Justin Marks. I think the other people are just credited because they created the characters.
Okay.
So, for the video game. So, yeah. But Justin Marks, who has written this, The Jungle Book, and the story for Top Gun Maverick.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So
he's really moved up.
Yeah, he wrote that. It was the Jungle Book, the live action remake that came out.
Okay.
Came out in 2016. Yeah. So.
Okay, not the cartoon or
yeah, but
anything.
even that is better than Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li. Yeah. So okay.
I think anything might be at this point, but
yeah.
I
literally, I mean, we've watched a lot of movies, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again for other movies. This is quite possibly the worst film I have ever seen in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not one of these movies that is like so bad it's good. It's just there.
Yeah, it's the boredom factor. It's it's bad in ways that you wouldn't really necessarily think. It's just one of those movies that just nothing happens. It's just like a long-winded what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's basically like kind of like how you always mention, where it's like if you have to tell the audience what's going on, then you're not really doing a good job. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're like, oh, here's a train coming, or like, you know what I mean, or something like that. Like,
yeah, like, you know, where you're basically spelling out what's happening, spelling out the narrative. Yeah, when you're telling and not showing.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So so what were your thoughts on this?
Man, I mean, just it's just boring. I didn't like it. I mean, I love Street Fighter. That's one of my favorite games of all time. Is Street Fighter 2. And the reason why it's called Street Fighter 2, there's a whole history behind.
Oh, yeah.
There actually is original Street Fighter arcade game.
Yeah, it's
and
a lot different.
You could
than
also,
the other. Yeah.
You could also play it on the not Nintendo, one of the old video game systems.
Yeah.
Sega Master System, I think, and there was another. I can't think of the name. Whatever. And then Street Fighter 2 comes out, and it's like one of the most iconic fighting video games of all time. It really is. And then so I'm like, oh, and Chun-Li, it's one of my favorite characters, because basically she was hot, and it was like, and, stuff like that, hot cartoon character, whatever, sue me. But like, I was like 10 at the time.
I mean, when I was a
But
kid,
then
I had a crush on Judy Jetson. So I mean, come on, we'll just
there you go. Yeah. So exactly, exactly. And so and the same with Street Fighter 2, and like I know like the million add-ons like Street Fighter 2 Ultra, Ultra HD, Ultra Max, or whatever. Like they didn't really have like a plot. It was just like it was like basically like a tournament, like Mortal Kombat. It's pretty much like similar, although it doesn't have any like supernatural stuff to it. And then there was like just loose stories around each character that didn't really like they really weren't fleshed out really that much.
yeah,
But then so you can't really base a movie after Chun-Li or Ryu or Ken because there's really not much to go off of. So they just like, all right, we'll just construct a plot around her and just
yeah. I
make
mean,
a
and it's not
origin story.
it's not a bad idea. I mean, it's like
Mhm.
but they failed at it all. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, so in the cast here we've got Kristen Crook from Smallville as Chun-Li. She played Lana Lang on there. Um,
Mhm.
we've got just letting you know she's not she's not the cult member cast member. So Smallville. Um, we've got
Yeah,
Neil McDonough as M Bison.
yep.
Um,
Well, Damien Dark,
yeah. So so so
other.
so so, so we have two DC comic book characters.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then we have Chris Klein who played Cicada on Flash, so we got a third one.
That's right.
Yeah,
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, I forgot about
yeah.
Cicada.
He's Charlie Nash. Then we got Michael Clark Duncan who was in a Marvel movie as Kingpin. So
Oh,
in
really? Which one?
Daredevil, with
Never saw that
with
one.
the one with Ben Affleck. Oh, okay. I'm really weird. Most people hate that movie. I really like it. So
Well, because don't you have a good experience from watching that movie or something, or?
no, I just really liked the movie.
Oh,
I
okay.
showed it at UT once when I at the University of Toledo
That's right. Yeah,
when I was the president of the Film and Video Society.
that's right.
But yeah, the
A DC and Marvel character because Ben Affleck played Batman
yeah,
in
uh-huh.
yeah. So,
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have been in both. And we got an actress named Moon Bloodgood as Detective yeah, Chris Klein was Charlie Nash. We got Michael Clark Duncan as Balrog, I'm sorry.
he's one of the characters in the game
Yeah,
too.
he is. And then we've got yeah, Charlie Nash I don't believe is a character. Oh wait, he is in the game actually.
Oh, he is? Okay.
Yeah. He's like a minor character. Um
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, Moon Bloodgood is a character named Detective Maya um Suni. Sunny, I don't know. We got
she
Tab.
should just
What's
real
that?
name.
Yeah,
She should just use a real name. Boone Bloodgood. That's a great
I
name.
know it is.
Great name.
We've got Taboo from the Black Eyed Peas as Vega.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
and then we got Robin Show as Gen, a martial arts master. He also was in Mortal Kombat, the movie,
Okay.
and Mortal Kombat Annihilation as Liu Kang. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so he's done
Cool.
2 video game movies or series. Yeah,
Hmm.
he was also in Beverly Hills Ninja with
That's
Chris
right.
Farley.
Right. Yeah, Chris.
And,
Yes, yes.
and the character he's playing, I'll get into it more later, but it's supposed to be like an old man.
Yeah.
He was like 49 when he did this movie.
Oh,
And
wow.
they gave him like really gray hair, but it looked like somebody had just put like spray paint on his hair. And,
Yeah, it looks very
it's
fake.
bad. Yeah, it was not good at all. Okay, but anyways, there's other people in the movie, but so okay, what? Okay, what happens in this movie here?
Basically, what happens in this movie could be like said in like 3 minutes. Between all the filler. So Chun-Li's dad is like some business person. They don't really explain what he does necessarily, but it's probably criminal, I guess. I don't know. And then he wants her to become a piano player, so he pretty much like forces her to practice all the time. But then she gets into martial arts, then he teaches her stuff, and then Bison and Balrog and Bison break into their house one night, get into a huge fight with them, and then they basically kidnap her dad, and then Bison acts really creepy towards the 10-year-old Chun-Li.
Yeah.
And then says something like we won't hurt the schoolgirl or something, like strokes her, some shit like that. I remember. And it was like, I don't understand, like, the whole scroll, like, why was that a thing? Like I don't understand, like, why. I don't know why she was referred to as the schoolgirl. Like, why
I think
not
she was
just,
wearing
like...
a school uniform at the point.
Oh,
or
okay,
something.
I see. All right.
Yeah.
I was just trying to figure out like what why that meant anything. Whatever.
Not that I'm giving anything of any of the writing of the script any kind of credit, but
yeah, exactly. I think they were just being stupid. I don't know. And then so, him and this thing, Balrog is basically like super strong, and like nothing really like hurts him.
Yeah.
Like martial arts don't really do much to him because he's just like huge, and he's got, his muscles are like, he's basically kind of like lift a car. That's like his strength or whatever. And so, he loses the fight against Balrog, and then they kidnap him. And, they think maybe he's dead, or something imply that he might be dead or whatever. And then it like goes up like maybe like 8 years later or something like that, and Chun-Li's like at like some kind of prestigious well, no, she's like a concert pianist.
Yeah, she's a concert pianist. She's like really good at the piano. Yeah. And her mom's dying of cancer.
That's right. So her mom's dying, and then she ends up getting this like, she gets a bunch of like flowers, like they give people, and then like someone sends her like this scroll with like ancient like lettering and stuff that she can't make out, and then like she ends up like taking it somewhere, or someone's in like, well, no, basically it's like she's like kind of like being like steered towards like this particular shop like in the city.
Yeah.
I think it was Bangkok.
Yeah.
That where yeah. And then like this older woman like reads her the script and tells her like what she needs to do, is she needs to like do something, go to Bangkok or do something. I remember it's something like that. And then so like she visits her mom. Mom dies, and then she basically leaves to go basically live on the streets for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, it's like she wants to play homeless woman for a few days.
I don't understand. It sounds like she comes from money, so
yeah,
I don't know,
she's rich. She has a fucking mansion.
So I don't know exactly what that's about, but so yeah, she was like basically living on the streets for a while, trying to find Gen, and then Gen is like always been like watching out for her this whole time. Like these guys are beating them up on the train station, and she went to help them out. And then he was also like sweeping the street, and that he like bumped into her, and that's what led her into that shop.
Yeah, and he has a spider web tattoo.
Yeah, they got that. Yeah, so it's like basically it's like this whole like journey thing where they're like trying to nudge her, and that you seem like that would be like a decent plot, but it just kind of goes nowhere from there, basically.
Yeah, I mean, like, so far what we've got here, it starts out. There's a lot of narration in this movie too at different points.
Yeah.
That I think was an afterthought.
Yeah, probably.
Because I think what happened is they probably had some test audiences that had no clue what the fuck was going on.
Exactly.
And they're like, hey, let's bring Kristen back in and have her record some narration so people know what the fuck's going on. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, but in the narration, she talks about, at this time in my life, I didn't know who I was going to be. And it's like, okay, that implies that we're going to have a movie with character development.
Yeah, exactly.
something that we don't have in this movie at all for any of the
No,
characters.
nothing.
Yeah,
Nothing.
So, yeah,
There's absolutely not even close.
She's
to
the
character.
same person that she was when she was playing piano.
Yeah.
Towards the beginning of the movie, at the end of the movie. So, anyways, but anyways, we've got like. I'm gonna focus on her story first. Okay, so we've got.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, if that's okay with you. We basically have her trying to rescue her dad, who's being kept captive in some kind of basement place where it looks like he's taken care of pretty well.
Oh yeah, I mean he looks
by
like
Bison. Yeah. Doing stuff for him that's never really explained.
Nope. Not once.
Some stuff on the computer of some sort.
Not once. Yeah, we don't know if he was like a shady businessman himself. There's never any like implication. Like you sort of maybe, but they don't really at all. It's weird for a movie that's full of narration. They have like nothing like on this. Like
it's got tons of narration, but no plot. But
yeah,
or no details to the plot at least.
Yeah,
we have one point where Bison kills all of his like rivals for some reason, never explained. And it doesn't apply to the rest of the plot of the movie.
No.
I don't know if it was just there to show how bad he was or what, it
was just a one-off. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there was nobody that we gave a shit about that he killed. There was, like, gave a shit one way or the other. Like, nobody we hated or liked that was killed. They were only on screen for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, they were only in one scene. Basically, is that he was a bunch of crime families that worked together and he wanted to take over. Basically, it was like, you can either join me or we're just going to kill you, type of thing. So,
yeah.
But
there's no reason. It's not like, because I need to take over the town because I've got to, get the who's a what's it from the from you guys because you guys have control of the who's a what's it. There's nothing like that.
There's no. Anyway, I'll get to Bison later on or something because that's a whole other story.
Yeah, we can go more into Bison, but anyways, my thing is there are two movies here.
Yeah,
one movie is about this guy Charlie Nash catching up with this detective Maya and looking into this character named Bison. All of their scenes could be excised from this movie and the plot would be the same.
Mm-hmm.
What little of the plot there is. There was no need for them to be in the movie. It's kind of like when we watched our friend's movie, the Reconciler, when you had that whole plot about the woman interviewing people that had nothing to do with the rest of the story.
All right, yeah.
Yeah. All the scenes with Charlie and Maya have nothing to do with the rest of the story. They at least kind of connect, but it's like...
Well, they only connect insofar as, he's looking for Bison or trying to track or whatever, but that's it.
It was filler.
Yeah.
So basically, I don't know. I'll go into them first, and then we can go back to our title character,
our hero.
Yeah, you can call her that, I guess. So we've got basically this kind of like will they won't they thing going on between sexual tension between Maya and Charlie.
But it starts immediately after they meet.
Yeah.
Like 30 seconds in. Like
I mean, a lot of this just seems like something like, okay, I'm not trying to say anything bad necessarily about like the Arrowverse or something like that. But this feels like scenes out of Arrowverse TV shows.
Yeah.
But not from the first episode. From like an episode like, 10 episodes in.
Yeah. That's
what the writing of the characters feel like. Like, we're supposed to know, oh, hey, it's good old Charlie Nash, our friend. But no, we just met him. We
Yeah.
have no detail about him. We don't know anything about him. We don't know if he's, been a cop for 4 days or 40 years. We don't know anything about him. It's like, same thing with Maya, and all we know is like their positions and their names. It's like, I don't know. And they're trying to play off like Chris Klein's a good actor. But I think to his detriment, this movie, the writing is horrible. It sounds like it was written by a chat GPT.
It does.
And, or like I was saying, like some of his dialogue is like anytime he's, I was telling you this earlier off air, like whenever he, signs off on the walkie-talkie, he's like, Nash out.
Yeah.
Well, like a 9-year-old playing cop in your backyard.
Yeah.
It's what it is. It's like, nobody actually does that.
Like over and out, whatever. Like,
yeah. I mean, the only people that ever like signed on and off are like, I don't know, like Smokey and the Bandit on their CBs or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and to the detriment of all of the actors in this movie, most of the dialogue in this movie was dubbed.
Oh, was it?
Because it just did not sound natural to the locations where they were. I don't think they got good audio on set, and so they brought people back in to loop their dialogue.
Gotcha.
And,
okay.
So it sounds kind of hollow. It almost sounds like, I don't know, it just doesn't sound natural.
Well, like kind of like that one movie we watched, was it Attack of the Killer Computer? What was it called before that? It was it had a name before that. It was
I vaguely remember that movie, but yeah, I remember what you're talking about.
But
yeah.
they were dubbed too, pretty much.
Yeah.
And,
this wasn't quite as bad as that, but it was.
No, it wasn't.
It's pretty obvious that they brought them in to dub all the dialogue again because they couldn't get good audio on set.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, but basically their whole story is just basically coming in and out of the other story, but not really interacting much with Chun-Li or anything. So, yeah,
it's just,
yeah. I don't know if
like
you want to take over and give more of the details. Yeah, what were you saying? I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, I'll help out with that. But yeah, it's just like three separate stories that like barely intersect with each other. Like it's like they're barely tied to each other at all. And so yeah, you got the Chun-Li is like basically like being trained to be kind of like a spy. But they don't really go into that either. Like when Gen's like teaching her how to like do like basically like magic with her fighting skills or something like that. And then like at one point she's like going to like a club and like somehow she just happens to know that the woman who's like, I guess like Bison's right hand woman is a lesbian or bisexual, which there was no like, how did she know this? It was never explained,
Yeah, that whole scene. So okay, here's the thing. You have the woman as a lesbian. This is me looking at it from like, I don't know, as like film criticism here. There's a thing in film called the gaze. It's usually the male gaze. Gaze, not Gays.
Right. No,
yeah. just making sure.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah. Because we're talking about a lesbian, so I just wanted to make sure that was clear.
Right. Yeah.
So, but basically, it's usually the male gaze where you'll have a thing where you've got like your hero or your villain kind of looking over at a hot girl, and and you can do the pan up and down of the woman's body or whatever have you. That's not that happened a lot in the 80s and stuff like that. So we're hitting 2009 here with this movie, where there's a little bit more, sensitivity when it comes to things like that. So the way they can get around that is make it through the eyes of a lesbian character.
Right, exactly.
Which doesn't make it.
Okay.
It does. They think it makes it better.
It does. Well, they do think that. Yeah, they're like, "Oh, it's okay, guys." Like,
but it doesn't.
Yeah,
it's still just putting your cameras on women dancing.
Yeah,
in a sexual manner. To get your little 13-year-old boys excited about the movie. Yeah.
Which, I'm not even sure if that would even happen just because of how stupid the movie is.
Yeah,
but...
I honestly, I think most 13-year-old boys would be checked out by this point in the movie. So.
Oh, because there's nothing going on. It's just, and I mean, plus too, I mean, you could also make the argument that, like, well, her character is kind of a slimy person, so therefore that's something that she would do, whatever. But like,
I mean, it's kind of like the whole thing. Like, I mean, the glorified rape scene in a movie too. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like
God.
where people do that, be like, oh, we had to show that to show how evil the guy was. No, you didn't. No, you could have it talked about, honestly. But yeah, that's the sort of thing.
Honestly,
yeah,
I've always felt comfortable with sex scenes in general in movies. I don't think they're useful at all. I don't think there's any point. It doesn't do anything for the story.
Yeah, I mean, there's
but especially rape scenes are even way worse.
I think movie scenes where you have somebody like kiss somebody, or even implying that they're going to have sex are okay. But but like a blatant like sex scene in a movie, I've never understood the point of. It's just because it never moves the plot forward.
No, it's just a way to kind of attract the adults.
Yeah,
it's being softcore pornography essentially in a movie theater.
Yeah,
I don't know, but like so, Chun-Li is like seducing her with her eyes and kind of flirts with her a little bit and dance floor, and then she kind of like teases her and then kind of just walks away. Then she kind of looks back and like kind of motions her head to go upstairs with her. So the woman follows her into the bathroom, and then Chun-Li starts fighting her, and it turns into this whole fight scene and whatever, fine. And then Chun-Li barely wins the fight, which is weird because she's supposed to be like this super martial artist, and the other woman, I don't think she was even like knew that much, but she was able to almost like hold her own against Chun-Li, which is okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's also like another thing too with her being bad and being a lesbian too. It's the whole Basic Instinct sort of thing where you perpetuate the lesbian as the evil person. It's just
right, because she's like aggressive and exactly. I've seen that in a lot of movies too, where it's like you can't just have like a bad female character just like be a bad female character. She's always going to be bisexual or lesbian or trans even.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, okay, like we get it. Like, come on. And then, and so, yeah, Chun-Li wins that fight. She gets the information out of her because she's going to break her arm if she didn't tell. And then Bison just appears like the beat the ever-living shit out of her, which is weird because like we got a man just like totally wailing on a woman who's like, like tied up like with a rope and shit. I'm like,
see, I was under the impression that she was already dead and he was just beating on her like a
punching her.
Yeah, okay, I think he was just using her as a punching bag.
Oh my, well that's even worse.
That's even creepier, but that's the way I read it. So
wow, that's like way worse. Yeah. So and so she's goner now, and then we get into the Bison story, which is again like almost separate from the Chun-Li story, in that there's this weird thing where Bison essentially wants to like buy the neighborhood that he grew up in, but then like wants to like gentrify it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he likes it being the slums because he grew up in the slums.
Yeah, but this incarnation of Bison, unlike the Raul Julia, like I don't know, like guy wearing military garb in the first Street Fighter movie, and in the video game, he's like the orphan of some Irish people that were living in Hong Kong or wherever, or Bangkok or whatever. Yeah, and so he was Irish. He's got this. I mean, I've actually heard Neil McDonough do a good Irish accent. Not so much in this movie. And I don't know if that was because of the dubbing of his dialogue or whatever, but it was just like this. I don't know if he was just trying to do like a slight Irish accent with some kind of like, Bangkok accent like mixed in there or something.
Right. I didn't even notice he was doing an accent actually.
Oh yeah, he was. It was off-putting.
Okay.
To me. So yeah, but
yeah,
yeah,
I wasn't even paying attention.
yeah, but yeah, he's like I guess an orphan who was like raised there or something. So yeah.
He was an orphan because his parents died when he was really young, and I guess like he just wasn't sent back to where he lives for some reason, and I don't know like how that would happen, but okay. So then, like he said something like, "I made my decision around her age," talking about Chun-Li. No, some kid who was like, because after he bought the neighborhood, he pretty much just like cornered them all off basically, and then like one of the kids was like staring at him through the car window, and he was like, I was around his age when I made my decision of what kind of person I was going to be or something like that. And of course, like he was going to be a bad person, which is weird. Like, why would you make a decision when you're 10 years old of whether you're going to be a bad person? I don't know. And then,
well, there was that day that I had in social studies class when I was in
yeah,
when I was in grade school, where the teacher is like, okay, class, today we get to decide if we're going to be good or bad people.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
But, no, I mean, so, and then they get into this weird backstory where, it just shows him kind of growing up where he's like stealing things to get by, but he's still like sort of a good person. Like he kind of feels a little guilty about the bad things he does, but he doesn't want to feel guilty because he wants to continue building his empire. So then he has this wife and he takes her into a cave, and there's like some ritual where if he like transfers like what little goodness he has in his soul into his child, then like that means that he doesn't have any goodness anymore, so he could just be a bad person.
And he has no like conscience, like, and
so he kills his wife by like sticking his hands into her belly.
He basically rips his kid out of her. It's
yeah, and then which I again with the whole narration thing, I didn't know if his wife knew that was going on because it seemed like the cave already had like a bunch of like ritualistic shit in it. So I think she would have like questioned like why is there like candles and shit in here, like and
it's like it's time to give birth to the baby. We could go over. We could go over to the hospital, or we can go to this weird cave.
So yeah, so I wasn't sure if she was in on it, like she knew that she was going to be like a sacrificial lamb type figure, or if she didn't know. Who knows? Again, they didn't explain any of this stuff, and then like that's his thing that allows him to just basically like just do bad shit. He doesn't feel bad about it, but then at the same time he does, because like he was supposed to basically just like abandon the daughter and just like basically like just let her go so he doesn't have to worry about like, but then like he wanted her back anyway, so I don't know. And then but they didn't really explain that too well either. And then so that's like the MacGuffin of the movie is her, like, and
yeah, they didn't give. I mean, and she's called the White Rose. Yeah,
that's right, the White Rose.
Yeah, and he didn't give. I mean, there was no reasoning that he wanted her back. It wasn't like even like, oh, I want her because she's my blood and I need her to fulfill this destiny or something. They gave no reason whatsoever, and it's not like he took all of the good out of him. And I always associate love with good, so
yeah,
it's not like he pretended to love her, or at least said he loved her. So I'm confused. So if all the good was taken out of him, how can he feel love? It's just bad.
Exactly.
It's bad writing.
No, I know it's just terrible writing. It really was. And it's too. When I first, my first thought was way darker when I first saw her because she was Russian. Yeah, it sounded like she was speaking Russian, and she was in like a train car. And my first thought was, oh my God, Bison is human trafficking people.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I was thinking, because, he has no conscience, so I thought that was like one of his, enterprises, or whatever. but then it was like, oh no, she's his daughter, and for some reason she's there.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then and at first I was wondering if she even like had like a personality, or if she was literally just kind of like a vessel for his goodness. Like she didn't even have like a like, you know what I mean? Like she was just like a human body that didn't really have like her own thoughts, kind of thing. I don't know. It was just weird. It didn't make any sense. Or, the plot would have been kind of cooler if he like wanted his goodness back, and then she could like transfer it to him and it's be like her own person, and then he would like feel guilty about all the shit he did. No, nothing like that. uh but there is one scene though, like, so I remember this movie reminds me a lot of like the 90s like martial arts movies, even though it was made in 2009. And one of the things that they did was, so I don't know if you remember this, like 90s action movies had what I describe as two main things. One thing, almost every action movie with guns, there's at least one gun with a silencer, has to be requirement.
Yeah.
You watch old 90s movies with guns, it's like silencers all over the place. Like, I don't know why they thought that was a cool thing, but it's like all the James Bond movies, all of the. And another thing
it's because of the sound. It's the
pew pew pew. Yeah. It's like it's got like a little like cute little sound like, and then and another thing is that they were obsessed with killing people by breaking their necks. Like almost every 90s and 80s movie with martial arts, people were just breaking necks like all over the place. And like that stopped for a while. And then in this movie though, they bring it back where he kills Chun-Li's father in front of her by breaking his neck.
Yeah,
which is pretty traumatizing.
I know in the mythos of the video game, supposedly she's actually an Interpol agent who in the video game world who who has been trying to revenge the death of her father. So that sets her forward. So as an origin story, that's cool. But the fact is, they built this whole thing up to being like the thing she wanted to do, like her goal to accomplish in this thing was to save her father.
Right.
But then we get them together and they only interact with each other for 30 seconds and he dies.
Exactly. And then
yeah, it just seemed really anticlimactic.
And then so third story, I gotta say his line. I just remember. So when Nash is narrating about Bison, like, he's traveled to like 3 continents, and then at one point he turns away from Maya. It's almost like he's looking directly into the camera, although he's not, and he goes, he walks through raindrops or something like that. It's like the worst line of a movie ever. Like, and like you can almost see the look on his face where he's like almost cringing as he's saying it, like, God damn it, they're gonna make me say this. Like, it's like poor Chris Klein.
See, I know Chris Klein at one point had like a I think a drug and alcohol problem in his real life.
Okay.
Makes me wonder if this was during that point.
Maybe. I don't know.
But I don't know. Yeah.
He's like, he walks through raindrops or something like that.
Yeah.
Like to show how sneaky he is, I guess. I don't know. And then, yeah, so you got that going on. For some reason, there's this whole thing where Bison's people don't know Chris Klein, Nash exists, nor Maya. But for some reason, Nash thinks that he has to like make out with Maya in the car while they're stakeouting them for some reason. And then like that's supposed to be like their big first point of like sexual tension or whatever. And it's just whatever. It was just stupid. And then
yeah, this was during his time with his alcohol problems.
Okay.
Yeah, because he was first arrested for drunk driving in 2005 and then again in 2010. So it was like this was right in between that. So yeah. So
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. It was just bizarre, man. I don't know. And like, yeah, the Nash story is just, it's useless. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't do anything for the story at all. The Chun-Li story barely has anything to do with the Chun-Li story anyway. But it doesn't. Like it's just like
this was more a movie about Bison.
It was like Bison's origin story. Yeah,
Yeah.
more than anyone else's. Because we got the whole goodness, soul transferish weird
Mm-hmm.
thing going on. And then for some reason he wants his daughter back for no particular reason whatsoever. And then we have the big battle scenes. Gen, they thought they killed Gen, but he turned out to be alive. He kills Balrog by like electrocuting him, I guess, or something. I don't remember. And then Vega dies somehow. I forgot how. And then Vega was like one of my favorite characters in the game, and he was so stupid in this movie. He was useless.
She kicked his ass like right away.
Yeah, it was like
and,
okay,
and I don't think that was the actor's real voice, was Taboo's real voice, because it sounded like it was dubbed. Like,
okay,
if it is, I don't know if Taboo's voice is really that deep, but it just seemed it sounded like they took his voice and like ran it through some kind of machine or something.
Yeah, it was it was very robotic sounding.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so Vega, she pretty much makes short work of him in the beginning and in the end, and then she ends up defeating Bison with the help of Gen, and then like that's when she starts doing like her special moves that you could do in the video game, which they didn't explain how she was able to like have like these magic powers all of a sudden.
It's just something that happens, I guess.
And then so she, to put it lightly, murders Bison in front of his like 10-year-old daughter. And like there's like she's not getting,
that daughter was older than 10.
Well, whatever. I don't know. I mean, she's a kid. Who knows? But whatever. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. Whatever. He kills her in front of her child. Like, I mean, who's obviously like still really young, and that's traumatizing.
Oh yeah.
And then like she does it by like literally like jumping and breaking his neck, but like with her legs, and she's like already like 50 feet above him, because he's like laying on some kind of like steel beam or something.
Yeah.
His head's kind of hanging off it, and she jumps down and like spins her legs and then cracks his neck with her legs, which I would think would have just tore his head off mainly, but like I don't know.
Yeah.
And then she's not even arrested for murdering someone. Like they're like
Charlie lets her go.
It. The police watch her murder this guy who's no longer a physical threat to her, and they're just like,
But Charlie, like, basically the other police are coming, and Charlie's the only one that really saw it.
Oh, okay.
So he's like kind of like, get out of here, kid, sort of thing. And
but he's an accomplice murder. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
He's an accomplice, and and so then we have like this tacked on scene where she's moving back into her mansion, because she didn't learn anything, and
yeah.
And then Gen shows up again. Pun intended.
Again. Get it? Again. Yeah.
And basically kind of sets up a sequel that we never saw. And
yeah, exactly, about Ryu. Like, all right, we're gonna get Ryu. No.
Yeah. Oh boy. I mean, I think that Street Fighter could be turned into a good movie. It just hasn't happened yet. So
yeah, I mean, you got Chun-Li, again, she's an Interpol agent. That's a pretty cool story.
Yeah.
You got Ken and Ryu. They both have like the same powers. It looks like they're both trained by the same person, so that would be a cool story to go on, because they literally have the same exact, like they're just like an even match for each other, They they got the same Hayuka, they got the same spin kick going on. Ryu just wears a white robe and Ken wears a red one, and but yeah, there's no Ken. I thought maybe at first I thought Nash was Ken. I'm like, oh that's kind of cool. Like, no. No, why would they do that, So
yeah, it's like there is there is, like, right now they're in talks to make another Street Fighter movie.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Legendary Entertainment is in process of. They announced they acquired the film and TV rights to Street Fighter franchise.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Danny and Michael Philippou are in talks to direct a film. They directed the movie Talk to Me.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, don't know of anything else they've done. But anyways, they yeah, that's yeah. Any other
That's
any other thoughts here?
no, not really.
Yeah, I mean, my main thing about the takeaway from this is that okay, the dialogue was horrible. The acting could have been better. The directing was pretty bad. The editing was horrible. The pacing of everything was horrible. Like, they would cut from, like, something kind of slow to something fast and then back to... It just didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
There was no good pacing at all. And there was no good pacey either. I mean, you need to have, like, Joshua Jackson in there.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, no.
Yeah, no good pacing.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, that I don't know. I was reading a good one of the under in Wikipedia under reception, like, you know, they talk about like reviews and stuff in there. Film historian Leonard Maltin stated the 1994 picture was one of the worst movies ever inspired by a video game. Even Jean-Claude Van Damme fans couldn't rationalize this turkey, which should have been titled 400 Funerals and No Sex. I don't know why you call it that, but anyways, because it came out the same year as Four Weddings and a Funeral or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yet this pointless and inept action vehicle makes its predecessor seem like Gone with the Wind. Hopelessly contrived with lamely choreographed fight sequences. Highlight is Chris Klein's cry of "Bomb, get out now!" Our sentiments exactly.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that part. Yeah.
Yeah. So the movie was a bomb in his opinion. Yeah. Oh boy. My other thing, you know, Nash out. You know, yeah, get out of there.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and this guy Ryan Davis of Giant Bomb described it as a re-envisioning of the source material by people who can't see.
Uh-huh. That's a good one.
Yeah. And yeah. Yeah, yeah, and then people are talking about, like, you know, Justin Mark's solemn screenplay lacks any trace of wit. Like, it just doesn't have it. Yeah, I mean, I mean, on its surface, you could get, I mean, because if you look at, like, some modern, like, action films, like Marvel ones especially, sometimes the plot is really kind of thin. But it's the dialogue that make it worth watching, you know? It's just like, this didn't even have that, you know? So.
Yeah, like I was watching Shazam Fury of the Gods last night. I didn't watch the whole thing, but like there was like, you know, these funny little juxtapositions here and there where it was like, you know, like we gotta save the bridge, and then it's like bridge collapses or something like that in the newspaper or whatever. Like
yeah.
Little things like that. No.
Yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. Anyways, this movie hurt my soul.
Yeah.
For the fact that I mean it was it had a $50 million budget.
What?
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, 50 million.
How is that even possible?
I don't know. And it only made 12.8 at the box office.
So did all that money go to Bison or something? I mean, like, what the hell? Like,
I mean, honestly, nobody in this movie was a big star. I mean, they're known for things, but like, Chris Klein is like the part of an ensemble in American Pie. He's not like the lead, that's like more like Jason Biggs or something. But
yeah, he was in all movies. He was in
and
all
I mean
Fox.
Neil McDonough has always been a good supporting actor.
Yeah,
And Kristen Crook wasn't the star of Smallville; she was the co-star. But I mean, it's like she was a TV star at the time, and that was still in 2009. We were still at the point where TV people were looked down upon.
right.
It's Michael.
They're not real
Honestly,
actors.
probably the biggest star in this movie at this point was Michael Clark Duncan.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing too. I was surprised. I'm like, why is he in this movie? Like, it was just. And again, he was acting so stupid.
I mean, before this, he had already been in Scorpion King and Sin City and the whole 9 yards, and not to mention the Green Mile.
I know that's a huge movie.
I'm saying I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if half that budget went to him. So.
It might have been. Just to have his name. But then again, they should have made him.
But the thing is he's not even. I mean, I saw one movie poster where he's kind of on it, but the major like covers for the DVD and other things, he's not even on them.
They should have made him the main character.
Yeah.
But then again, Balrog is not really a main character in the game, where he's not the most popular. So then what they should have done is, they wanted to make an action movie with Michael Clark Duncan. They should have just, made not done a Street Fighter game.
Yeah.
A Street Fighter movie, sorry. And
yeah, it's just, I don't know.
Because Balrog is really not like, most people don't really like to play as him because he's a boxer. He's not really.
Yeah, he's kind of he's kind of a B-level character.
He's not like
game.
Like Chun-Li. She's got the cool kick moves.
Yeah.
Ryu and Ken got that cool Hadouken, Hayuken kind of thing. You got the Russian dude who's like a huge, like big guy or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
you got Vega, because Vega climb on fences and shit. He's got those spiky things on his hands or whatever. Yeah.
It's just I don't know what they were thinking with this movie. The concept could have been done well if you had a decent story. Like, give me a week or so and I could write you a better story.
I'm sure
of a backstory for Chun-Li than this. But I don't want to waste my time doing that.
They already tried it once. I wouldn't mind seeing another movie about Chun-Li though.
Well, yeah,
a good movie. Though.
Honestly, I think Street Fighter could make a good TV series.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, like where you could like focus on the characters more in depth and do things, you just like a large ensemble cast where you could, give a little bit of backstory. Like one episode's about, one character, next episode's about another character, sort of things like that. It'd be interesting. But anyways, I think that's about all we have to say about that, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty much spent.
Yeah, me too. So, anyways, folks, hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you're good to each other. Check out our TeePublic, our Patreon. Go to all2real2.com for all of our links and everything. Be sure to subscribe to the show if you haven't already. Share it with your friends. Give us a review if you feel like it. Any of that stuff if you feel like it. I'm not telling you what to do. And like I said, be good to each other. Remember that I love you. Sesame loves you. Mike out.
Yeah, Sesame over.
Yeah. And until next time, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.